Insurance, this is Tony Cañas, and today I want to talk to you about 3 2020 virtual conferences that were actually pretty good. 2020 was not a good year for conferences, needless to say, with most of them after March either getting canceled or going virtual. For those of us like myself who do a ton of conferences on an average year, between conferences that I go to represent Jacobson, conferences that I speak at, conferences that I attend to cover for insurance nerds, etc., I end up in a normal year going to probably 25 or 30 different conferences, all of them in the insurance space. So for me, 2020 was tough in that aspect. I really missed that part of my normal activities. I attempted a few virtual conferences. It's just not the same. The reality is that the real reason that I go to conferences and that most of us go to conferences is for the networking aspect. And the networking side is really, really, really hard when it's all virtual. But there were 3 exceptions that were actually really, 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 really good. Number 1, CPCU Into Risk, what used to be known as the CPCU annual meeting, turned out, I was shocked. I had no idea that they had it in them to pull off a virtual conference, but they pulled it off. The reason they pulled it off is because they completely reinvented the conference for the virtual format. They reevaluated the schedule and the content and made it a little smaller, made it into I think a 2-day instead of a 3-day, or a 3-day instead of a 4-day conference. 3-day, yeah, they made it a 3-day instead of a 4-day conference, and just made the days shorter to be less tiring over Zoom. And they really were careful in choosing the speakers and the topics specifically for the ones that they believed would come across the best in the format. And then I know everybody at that conference. That conference is probably 70% new CPCU designees, out of whom many have used Insurance Nerds to get them excited about CPCU, or we've connected at some point, or I've helped mentor them through the program, or whatever. Anyway, many of them know me. And then the other third are what I affectionately refer to as the lifers. And I'm one of the lifers, and the lifers all know me. So basically, I ran an unofficial networking room that I kept open whenever there was not a speaker going, and I kept it up until at least 10 p.m. every night. And because I know everybody who goes to this conference, I had the ability to get the word out efficiently, and it turned out to be a really good way to network. The last night of the conference on Friday, I collapsed at like 3 a.m. and the conversation kept going for like another hour. We ended up an hour and 40 minutes short of breaking the world record for the longest Zoom call. It's not something we knew we were trying for. It just kind of worked out that way. So that particular conference was fantastic. Then on top of that one, the Jacobson annual meeting, which was actually early 2021. The Jacobson annual meeting is always late January. Normally it is in person at our Chicago headquarters. They bring all the remote people in, and we spend a whole day, both meetings and then a lot of social stuff, and we usually close down the bars afterwards. This time they reinvented it very successfully. One of the big changes they made, instead of being one long day, they made it into 1 hour to 1.5 hour sessions each afternoon for the whole week. So less tiresome than participating in that long, a 6 or 7 hour Zoom call. So it worked out much better. The number 2 thing that they did is they shipped each of the 77 employees some adult beverages in a variety. Basically, like I got a couple of cocktails, and so somebody else got wine, and somebody else got champagne, and like we got a variety of different drinks, which gives a lot of conversation around it. They didn't use Zoom. They used Hopin, which is the first time I used Hopin, and it actually worked really well. Hopin allows you to have breakout rooms. So they had a team activity that was actually a lot of fun, where they separated us into teams and sent us into each team's room, and then we came back to present what we had come up with, and it was a lot of fun. And then they also had speed networking, so it's very similar to speed dating, and the software connects you to a randomly chosen person in the company, and you get 3 minutes to chat. So at Jacobson, we all know each other, so it was a cool way to catch up with people you haven't seen in a long time. At a bigger company, it might be a little trickier. It would still be interesting to have that kind of thing, speed networking. I would give more than 3 minutes. I'd give like 5 minutes, but it was very, very interesting. So anyway, so that was a really good one. And then finally, the last conference that last year that I thought was really valuable, did well, was several of the CPCU Society meetings. So the CPCU Society local chapter meetings are normally pretty good if you have a good chapter in your area. And they historically have not been accessible remotely, not even their iDays, which is the big one of the year. Well, last year, many of the local chapters reinvented their activities on Zoom, and that allowed CPCUs from all over the country to attend activities maybe not in their backyard. And I found some really, really good ones. Especially the New Jersey I-Day was particularly fantastic. They managed to put together an incredible set of speakers that would have cost $1,000 per person in an in-person conference. Because there was no travel cost, they had them available for $25 a person. Incredible. And several of the other chapter meetings were free and just fantastic. That's the third. The three different types of conferences. And as we move into 2021 and we start getting vaccinated and we start getting back out there in person, I really hope that we can figure out ways to not only continue having great online events, but also ways to do hybrid events where you have both an in-person version for those who have the budget to attend, but also make them available much cheaper online. I think that would be a fantastic way to continue the trend and take advantage of what we've learned. Anyway, just wanted to share there are ways to pull off a great online conference if you can't get together in person, and I think that is a great benefit that we learned from last year. So 2021, don't ignore online conferences. Choose a couple that you've heard good things about and give them a try, because you just might find that they're actually a pretty solid event. Thank you.